How's it going, guys? And welcome back. Today we are going to be reviewing the radio that I installed in my S2000. The radio that I installed is the Sony GS820BT, and it's going to be one of the best upgrades I think I personally did on my S2000. All right, other than the fact that sounded a little bit biased, I'm going to do my best to keep it as unbiased as possible in this review. Now, the GS820BT is a pretty powerful head unit. It comes with a built-in amplifier. The amplifier, from what I understand, is about 45 watts, so really, honestly, I'm not into stereos all that much, but if you know what it is, perfect, cool. Moving on. So the amplifier in this stereo actually makes it pretty loud, and the features that come with it make it a really modern stereo for any car. All right, so for this review, I'm gonna go over some of the features that come with the GS820, and afterwards, I'm gonna evaluate it based on its quality and overall value as a head unit. So some of the features that you're gonna get with the GS820BT, obviously it comes in the name, it's the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth on this thing is actually really good. It connects to my phone immediately. As a matter of fact, you can actually connect two phones at the same time through Bluetooth, and it's actually really good quality. Some of the other things that come with the radio, obviously, like whenever you're going through an FM channel, if they have the name of the song, or if it has the name of the station, it'll show up on the display screen. This radio also comes equipped with the option of having a Sirius XM satellite tuner. So if you want to go ahead and use Sirius XM satellite, you can definitely do that. You can have that as an option for this Bluetooth. I opted against it because I just don't see the point in having a subscription if I'm going to be streaming my music from my phone anyway. A really cool feature about the GS820 is the fact that it comes with two USB ports. One of the main selling options for this head unit for me was just the fact that it came with two USB ports. One is going to be in the front and the other one is going to come out through the back, which I was able to route to come through the back of the paneling of the S2000, and it kind of like sits in the net. It's really good, so when you charge your phone, you can actually charge your phone and have another person charge your phone. And the USB chargers in itself is actually really powerful. I know for a fact that my Android likes to suck up a lot of juice, and it actually does a pretty good job in charging the Android as I'm using it, which would include me streaming music or putting a YouTube podcast on so the video can be playing, I can still hear the audio, and it syncs up perfectly. But other than that, I think it's a really good option to have. If you're not into the whole USB port thing, don't worry, it comes with an auxiliary port in the front, so you can go ahead and connect your auxiliary cable, and it'll function the same way as with any other car. So with the GS820, you also get the CD player, which I know it sounds kind of weird for me mentioning it, but there's some other audio players that do not come with the CD player. This one does come with the CD player. I mean, I rarely use it, but I bought this more for the features rather than the CD player. The GS820 does come with a hefty price tag of about $250 brand new. When I bought it, there was a sale going on at Crutchfield. I believe I picked it up for like around $200, and it was pretty good. I got financing on it, and it was great. I already paid it off, and it was 0 interest for 6 months. So if you want to pick one up, you can probably go check out Crutchfield. They got some pretty good deals there. And one last feature that I wanted to mention about the GS820 is the fact that it does come with a 3-year warranty. So if at any point something happens with my GS820, maybe the Bluetooth stops working, or maybe something happens with the radio, I don't know, I can't really explain as to what may happen. I hope nothing does happen. But so long as it falls in within that 3-year warranty, I'm covered. I'll just send it back to Sony, and they gave me a brand new one. The GS820 also did come with the remote, so you can control the radio. I didn't really find a use for it because I'm controlling the radio through my phone anyway using the app, which, by the way, I'll get into in a minute. So I really don't see the point of a remote control anymore, but it does come with it, so if you do get it and you do decide to use it, that's cool too. Sony developed an app for the GS820 and some of the other Bluetooth models of their lineup to go ahead and have this application. You can download it through the App Store or Google Play Store, and it's actually really helpful. Although sometimes I do think it might be a little intrusive sometimes. Sometimes you just don't want to use it. You just want to use the Bluetooth, streaming audio, whatever the case. But it actually is a really good application in itself. You can control a lot of features of the head unit. You can adjust the color. You can go ahead and switch between Pandora, the FM tuner, the AM tuner, going all the way even to having a YouTube or even Spotify, or some of the other music applications with it. I think it even goes up to SoundCloud. It has it as an application, so you can go ahead and stream your music that way as well. It's a really cool feature, so you can go ahead and control it through your phone. I know some people have like a mount so they can put on their car. I have a mount for my vent on my S2000s. It's really easy for me to go ahead and reach my phone on the vent rather than touching the head unit itself. So having that there and having the lid closed is actually a plus for me. Now going into the customization features of the GS820, for me personally, I wanted a head unit that can customize both the display and also the color buttons. I know that sounds like a really small detail, but for me it was, well, not everything, but it was close to everything because I wanted a head unit that can resemble the stock coloration of the S2000. For the majority part of it, everything is orange and red, but I wanted to do an orange glow that was really close to how the S2000's interior glow looked like. I was able to match that very closely. I know I can fine tune a little bit more with the application. I can cycle through the colors a little bit differently. I can choose a custom color, but I was pretty happy with that. And of course, I wanted to keep the letters for the display side of it to be white. And I think it's a perfect color combination personally. And if you don't like that, you can change it to pretty much whatever you want. The combinations for that are basically endless. And I think that is a really, really cool feature to have. So you can choose exactly what kind of colors you want to use and how you want to have them displayed. You can either do a multicolor section or you can just do a single color. I mean, basically the sky's the limit with this thing. Now there are two features that I forgot to mention about the GS820. And the first one is the fact that it does have the option of steering wheel controls. As you guys know from my install video, I installed the Modify system for the S2000. There are different steering control features for the GS820. You can find out which one works best for your vehicle. And the last feature that I forgot to mention about the GS820 is the fact that it does take phone calls. It does take phone calls pretty well. My car is modified. It does have an exhaust, so it kind of sounds a little bit loud. I would say maybe about 80% of the time they hear me perfectly fine and crystal clear. Now, if you have a regular stock car, maybe you're putting this on like a basic Sentra, a Civic, whatever that's not modified, the other person is going to hear you very well. It's pretty clear. There's no distortion from the Bluetooth audio. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the quality of the GS820. Now for a $270 head unit, you would expect this thing to work flawlessly every time. And I wish it was that case every single time, but unfortunately there are some issues with it. For example, connectivity. Every now and then when I'm using the Bluetooth on my phone or when I'm getting into the car, just randomly, sometimes it won't connect to the phone right away or it just doesn't connect it at all. And I have to reset my Bluetooth on my phone or just turn off the car and turn it back on and it'll fix itself. I don't know why it does that. It does that every now and then, but realistically 90% of the time, if not maybe 95% of the time, the head unit works flawlessly, no issues whatsoever. Now going into the USB side of things, if you are a Android user, I'm really sorry to say this, but using the USB isn't really an option unless you have built-in music in your phone. Me personally, I like to stream my music and any other stuff that I'm listening to through Bluetooth, and that's perfectly fine. Realistically, that's the only way you're going to stream music on an Android device. Using your USB will just go into whatever's in your internal storage. For me, for whatever reason, it likes to go ahead and dig through my ringtones. It goes through like the stock ringtones that come with the phone, and it goes through the custom ringtones that I made. I don't know why it does that. It just does it. However, if you are an Apple user, you guys are going to get the best bang for your buck with this head unit. It works flawlessly. As an Android user, it's really hard for me to say that, but using someone else's pod or iPhone on this head unit works really well. The one thing I will note on this is that trying to connect an iPhone to this receiver via Bluetooth, it's kind of weird. I don't know why it doesn't like to connect through Bluetooth right away. It takes a little bit. I've tried doing it on two separate iPhones, and for whatever reason, trying to connect it through Bluetooth, it was a real hassle to do it. On an Android, it connects right away. I don't know why it does it on the iPhones, but the USB portion of it works great. The Siri Control that comes with this head unit works just as you would expect. It's almost just like Apple CarPlay. Android users, don't worry, we're still in the loop. We do still get voice control, audio control with this head unit. You can still go ahead and summon Google and have it open whatever you want, and it works just the same way. Now, in terms of build quality on the GS820, I think it's actually pretty good. It is kind of plasticky. When you touch it, it does kind of creak every now and then, just depending on what buttons you do touch. If you press it in the center, that's where I've noticed where it kind of creaks the most. But other than that, I think it's really good, despite the fact that it's made out of plastic. I mean, what other material are you gonna use, really? But a lot of people have complained about the carbon fiber look of it. There is kind of like this carbon fiber weave to it. I know it's not real carbon fiber. It's just like this weave that they put over it, make it look like carbon fiber. I think it looks pretty cool, personally. I don't really notice it so much in my car. It just kind of blends in because, the whole thing is black anyway. It doesn't really stand out all that much. And if I ever get tired of looking at the head unit, I can just close the door on my end. It's actually a really good looking head unit. It looks pretty sleek, pretty modern, and I don't know, like I think for what it is, I think it's pretty solid. It looks great, and I think Sony did a really good job with the way the design of this came out. Some of my favorite features about it is the fact that it does come with the sliding USB port on the front, so you can go ahead and hide that away, and it hides the USB port really well. And the auxiliary port in the front, it just kind of blends in with everything. It is lit, so you can see it, and it kind of blends in. It doesn't really stand out all that much, and it looks really good on the head unit. But overall, I think my favorite feature, like I mentioned before, is the rear USB port that comes with it. It just ties it up all that much better. That extra USB port that comes out through the back of it is just solid. Now, the last thing we're gonna talk about on this review is the value for the GS820. For $270, this is actually kind of steep. Fortunately for me, when I picked it up for $200 on Crutchfield when they had a sale going on for it. They do have a $70 rebate right now, so you can pick this up for basically what I paid for, which was $200. And I think for $200, it is a solid head unit. For $270, maybe. It just those extra $70 just I kind of feel are not worth it. But if you can pick it up for $200, I think you got yourself a pretty solid head unit. Now, the other competitor for the GS820 is the XB120 from Sony, and that's kind of like its direct competitor. It's a little bit cheaper than the GS820. It comes in at about $170, so it's a full $100 cheaper. I think it also gets that rebate, so it's even cheaper than before. You might want to check that on Crutchfield, though. I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not. Other than the fact that one is cheaper than the other, and I believe the XB120 does not come with the rear USB, that's kind of like the only reason why it's cheaper. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm missing something. Someone in the comments will probably tell me and school me on that. I think they future-proofed it pretty well. And for the features that come with the GS820, I know I forgot to mention a couple of things in there. For example, like the bass booster, and the fact that you can go through different EQ settings and customize your own EQ settings for this. I think it's a really solid head unit. Honestly, with all the customization features that come with it, such as the color, the EQ settings, the bass booster, the fact that it comes with a pre-built amp inside, I think that, this is a really solid head unit. The few things that can tie this head unit all together, make it a really good sound system for your car, is if you get upgraded speakers, maybe if you want to add an amp to your car. Me personally, I think I'm just going to go the speaker route. I'm not going to touch the amp, but maybe you want to add an amp to your car. You want to get that extra bass, or you want to get that extra power and juice from the amp. You're more than welcome to do so, and I think this will benefit really well. Some other bass head units don't really come with a built-in amplifier like this one does, so I think it's going to be a really, really good feature for this one if you're just trying to keep it without an amplifier and just upgrade the speakers like I'm gonna do. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and wrap up this video. From what I talked about in this video, I talked about the features, I talked about the quality, and also talked about the value of the GS820. Overall, I think it is a super solid head unit, especially if you can pick it up for $200. At $270, it might be a little steep for some people, and I personally don't see it in terms of value. The quality, like I mentioned before, is actually really good. The sound quality is excellent. I think all I need to do is just upgrade my speakers, but I think for what it is and the power that it already comes with, I think it's pretty solid. Now, if there's any questions that you guys may have on the GS820, or if you think that I missed something on this video, go ahead and type it up in the comment section down below, and we'll go ahead and discuss this a little bit further in detail. But I think that's going to be it for this video. If you guys like today's video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you guys are new to this channel, if you like today's video, some of the other content that I have on my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.